Hey, thanks for checking out the video today. Thanksgiving is upon us. One of my favorite times of the year, my favorite holiday. Thanksgiving is right around the corner next week, and I thought what better time than for us to share one of our most popular blogs, which is Surviving the Holidays with Your Spouse. And so today we're going to get into, more importantly, the topic of going from surviving to thriving in the holidays with your spouse. And if you are married and you have any type of engagement in social media, news, and you're online, you're no doubt just inundated with, within relationship advice, just lots of negativity, right? So I took down a couple headlines that I came across on a Google search around the holidays. Some popular headlines: make an escape plan, bah humbug, my family doesn't accept me, and cope ahead of time. So these are some of the top trending searches when you're trying to find content on how to anticipate and how to enjoy the holidays with your spouse and with your family. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say, while this time of the year is, as Andy Williams put it, the most wonderful time of the year in the popular Christmas song, but it's also literally the time that a lot of people dread more than any other time of the year. And there's a lot of factors for that. So it could be distance traveled. It could be chaos between juggling which family do you visit and how much time and when. Super popular conflict right there. It could just be the busyness of it. It could be the chaos surrounding it. It could be the kids are off school for too long. It could be that you don't get along with your brother or your sister, and that's the only time of the year that you see them. And I'm barely scratching the surface. There are so many reasons why people dread this time of the year and unfortunately look at it as a time to get through rather than enjoying the holidays. And this is so important because in marriage, that has a huge dampening effect, right? So if one or both of you are in mid-November and you're just dreading the next month and a half, all the way through New Year's because of family engagements, because of commitments, because of things that you just generally don't want to do or people you don't want to be around, I mean, that's awful. And that really does weigh heavily on your marriage, especially if there's conflict between you and your spouse, which most likely there is if you're having those types of conversations. So what we're gonna talk about today, Jamie and I have some really good principles that we've tried to implement over the years. I believe there's 6 things that we're going to hit on that really will not only help you survive the holidays, but also thrive. And that's our goal. We believe at Bold Marriage that you shouldn't just try to make it. You should really try to amplify your marriage. And so the first thing we're going to talk about is anticipate. And this sounds so obvious, but it's not. So we know that the holiday season's right around the corner. We're kind of in the thick of it, right? So after Halloween, you head into November, everyone knows what's coming. You know that it's coming. But what I think happens is a lot of people really repress that, and they don't want to think about it until literally the travel plans are being made, or you're packing the car to go out of town, or it occurs to you, gosh, that visit with my parents or my in-laws is a couple days away. And so one easy thing you can do right away is just get ahead of it. So just like you would something you look forward to, or a big meeting you have at work, or a big change that you're having in your life, we need to approach the holidays the same way. So anticipating this, it could be looking at your calendar. It could be thinking through, okay, what do I need to plan in advance? What do I need to prepare myself for? What do we as a couple or as a family, if you've got kids, what do we need to be prepared for? And really anticipate that time of the year. That may not help take away the negativity that you feel, but at least you're looking at it objectively and you're really able to plan ahead, as opposed to, so let's sidestep for a second, as opposed to letting everything just come rushing at you and just devastate you or cause you a lot of extra stress if you're walking into it and you're not really well prepped. So anticipate, number 1. Number 2, discuss openly. Get with your spouse and discuss your plans, even the tentative plans. So what have you already committed to? What do you still need to nail down in terms of schedules? What do you maybe not agree on? And that's so important to talk openly. And by the way, that doesn't mean you're going to agree. But the opposite of talking openly about your plans would be to ignore it, to each of you be thinking your own thoughts and planning maybe even in your mind what you're going to do or how you're going to approach Thanksgiving or Christmas or Hanukkah or New Year's or whatever holidays you and your family celebrate around, or get-togethers, I should say, around the holidays. Those are important things to really talk about. So work schedules, time off, kids' schedules with being out of school, like all of these things you have to talk openly. And it goes without saying, but communication causes massive problems in marriage. We all know that. We've all experienced that for sure. So talking about the most stressful time of the year only makes sense, right? So you should really strive. One of the things that I believe is important to talk about is you really should try to come away with being on the same page. Like, that's the goal here. If it doesn't happen in every single scenario, that's okay. And there's going to be compromises that need to be made, especially if you're trying to balance two sides of the family. I mean, that's stating the obvious probably for all of us, but we have to be open and communicate and then make commitments. I would even argue that the commitment part of it needs to happen there as well, where you've both discussed things, you've made your decisions. So then the third thing, this ties in pretty well. One thing I missed there in discussing openly, and we talk about this a lot with communication, is say what you mean, be direct if you have to be direct, be a good listener, but most of all, we have to show respect to our spouse. Like this, you're only going, I would give you a warning here, you're only going to make the holidays worse for yourself as a husband or as a wife if you're hostile, you're aggressive, you don't listen, you don't hear each other out. You're only going to make things worse. So I would just say, got to discuss openly. That's the key phrase there. So the third thing, plan. So now that you've had your discussion, you've heard each other out, you've thrown the options on the table, I'm going to cover this one really quickly. Make the decisions and stick to them, like period. That's it. You have to, if you don't, then you're just leaving openness for interpretation. You're not really pinning things down. By the way, just being a good person, you're kind of leaving your family strung along, wondering what's happening and whether you're coming or not, but that's beside the point. But I think making your plans that you both talked about, you both agreed on, or compromised on, to be fair, and then you just have to stick with it and put your plans in the calendar and get going. Shifting gears a little bit, so given where we started, that this is a tough time of the year, or it can also be the most enjoyable time of the year. And we're going to talk about ways that you can energize your marriage. So number 4, do things that energize your marriage, regardless of whether you've got great plans around Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's and family that you love spending time with, or non-stressful travel. Or on the flip side, this is a chaotic time of year like we talked about at the beginning and something that you don't look forward to. Either way, whichever camp you and your spouse fall in, you have to do things that energize you two, you and your spouse. Extra time for relaxation, trying to find hobbies that you enjoy, getting that time away from work if that's possible for you and your job. These are things that energize you. And one like super nerdy thing, by the way, that I do, because I am very fortunate to get some time off around the holidays, is I just make a list on my phone, on an app, of what things I want to do around the house, what projects I want to work on, maybe even things like what books I want to read or movies I want to watch or restaurants I want to go eat at. And that just helps. And Jamie does the same thing. We do that together. That helps prep us for, first of all, it gives you something to look forward to in your downtime, but then it also just helps you kind of remember some things that you're looking forward to, so you don't end up getting to the night before you go back to work and you kind of forgot to do some of the things that you enjoyed. So little stupid habit, but if that helps in any way. But regardless, find the things that energize you. Day trips, projects around the house, games, dining, whatever fills your cup as a couple. You need to use that time to energize your marriage, which goes to the next point, which is number 5. Use the downtime to your benefit. And again, what I would say here is the caveat is I understand, of course, that a lot of us that are working work in an industry or in a field or for a company, that this is like the complete opposite. This is the busiest time of the year. If you're in hospitality, if you're in retail, if you're in medical, the medical field, these are some of the busiest times of the year. So I acknowledge that first of all. So just take this with a grain of salt, and you need to figure out what's best for you and your spouse and make other plans outside of those busy seasons. But using the downtime that we have around the holidays where the kids are off school, maybe work's a little slower, we've got to try to use that to our benefits. That kind of ties hand in hand with doing things that energize your marriage. We need to try to get the rest, the relaxation, extra time in prayer. You know, from our perspective, like our faith is a huge component to our marriage. So we do a lot of goal setting. We do a lot of praying around this time of year, really seeking what does God want for us as a couple and as a family. And so we use that downtime to our benefit. When things are a little more slowed down, we've got some time to think and to breathe outside of our busy schedules. So plan ahead for the downtime. Again, goes back to the earlier point that you will have around the holidays. And again, if you're in a career situation where you can't do that right now, well, then make plans for when you can. Maybe it's the week after the first of the year that things kind of then slow down and catch up. Well, fine, just take time with your spouse then. And last but not least, look forward to it. So rather than try to allow that negativity to just rule over you, find those little things like we talked about a lot here. Find those little things that are exciting, that you and your spouse enjoy, that even if it's just one activity for one day that you're going to look forward to. It's so important for our mindset that we find the things that we enjoy doing, the things that we are going to be encouraged and filled up by and excited about, and just look forward to that. This can truly change your perspective if you're going into this holiday season with dread or with worry or with just disappointment of what's to come. All these things can really help shift your focus, get you in the mindset of looking forward to it, being positive. So give this a try. I wish you all the best and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's holiday season. Thanks for checking out the video.